Hi everybody, in this final week of class, we are going to focus on templates. And so templates are used as basic form documents that can be easily reused. And that way you're not continuously typing over the same thing over and over. You can just save something as a template and then change only the necessary parts. And so let's start by opening up part 6 in our GDP. This is Unit 21, Lessons 101 through 105. And I'm going to start by opening up Lesson 101. And so it's really important that you do study Lesson 101 in your Word manual. Make sure that you complete all of the steps while you're at your computer. Once you've done that, then you can start on with the assignments. And so I'm just going to quickly open up Lesson 101 in the Word manual so we can see that together. So this just deals with using correspondence templates. So here's an example template. Notice that there are placeholders where it says click here and type name. And then we would have our basic template that we would then save. Okay, so I strongly suggest again that you just read these instructions here and then try out the practice on your own, again, before you attempt the actual assignment. For 101E, it does give us the formatting for filling in forms, just some basic information. And so what I'm going to do is to just show you this Lesson 101F. And again, this just refers back to Lesson 101 in the Word manual. You can go ahead and try this out on your own by clicking Start Work and then doing that practice exercise on your own. And so this is what that template is going to look like just for that 101F practice in the Word manual for Lesson 101. Okay, so for Lesson 101, we're going to be typing out a memo template. So of course by now you should be familiar with creating a memo on your own without much help. And so let's open up this blank document. I'm going to enable editing. And if for whatever reason you have this update button, you can also click on update now. And so here we have a basic memo template already typed in. What we're going to do is to just edit this so that it follows 101-1 in your e-text. So for the to section, and we're not going to adjust any of the memo headings to be capitalized. We're just using this basic template. So I'll go ahead and type out everything that's needed here. Okay, to get to the next field, I'll just click where it says Form Text, and then I'll continue on. Alright, so I've typed out the memo heading section, and in our e-text, we don't have a heading such as this, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this, and then I will go ahead and start typing out the rest of the document. And so here you can see that I've typed out my letter. Notice that I did double space between my paragraphs. And then I have my own reference initials in lowercase. And so when I save this and upload it, I do want to show you the error that might appear just so that you don't get worried that you might have done something wrong. And so when I upload this and submit it, notice that it has one keystroking error, and so if you scroll down to the bottom, don't worry if you have this omission error here. I'm not going to mark you as incorrect for having that. However, when you do open up your paragraph marks or your show hide, it should end here, just after your last initials without an extra enter at the end. Okay, but that was it for the 101-01, where we just filled in a pre-existing form. Now let's take a look at 102. So lesson 102 deals with report templates. And even when you open up 102-4 in GDP, there is a lot of information here, so make sure that you do read all of this carefully before you start. Also, preferably, you also reviewed 102D word processing for the word manual lesson 102. And this deals with report templates. And so actually when we open it up, the 102-4 start file, it's going to look very similar to this. And then we're going to go ahead and edit it. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up the 102-4, but again, make sure that you do this lesson 102D and practice it before you do the actual assignment. And so when you open up the 102-4 report template, it's going to look like this. Okay, so there's a few pages. What we're actually going to do is to edit this section here, which is a company name. We're also going to input the address, change this as well as the subtitle, and then we're going to edit everything else as necessary. And so make sure that you do follow the instructions very carefully for 102-4, and I'm going to show you what your completed document is going to look like. Okay, so after you've made all of the edits and you've typed out the report, let's take a look at what it's going to look like. So on page 1, we changed this to top design. We've also included the address. We've changed the title to web page mistakes, and then the subtitle is designing a web page. So that's what we're changing on page 1. For page number 2, we had to change this title to our actual title that we were given, which is web page mistakes. And then directly below that, we have the subtitle of designing a web page. As for the headings, notice that we're not pressing enter an extra time after each of the headings, top 3 mistakes and other common mistakes. But it's really important now that when you type out these headings, that you apply the heading 1 style. So top 3 mistakes is going to be heading 1, and so is other common mistakes. As for the rest of the document, and it's really important, so this paragraph here needs to use the template body style. Same thing for all of these paragraphs in between. All of them should be formatted as template body style. If for whatever reason you select a paragraph and you have this body, normal body text template, although it looks the same, it's not the correct template style. So make sure that all of those inside paragraphs have this template body style applied. And you know it's applied because when you click in any of those paragraphs, this one here is going to be selected. And so this is what your final 102-04 or 102-4 is going to look like.